Alright, all you listeners to the madness and you wrestling fans currently taking a time warp thanks to yours truly, welcome back to Under the Radar. And now it's time for us to go into the second half of Retromania from the Wrestlemania of Wrestlemania 25 from Dallas, Texas. Which we should have said before, but we were so caught up in the moment of deep in the heart of Texas, we just ran with it. And the next match to take place during this said pay-per-view, in my opinion, should have been the main event. But with how epic this match was, it sucked the air out of the room of the other matches, which were actually the co-main events for this year's WrestleMania, which would be The Undertaker going one-on-one against the Heartbreak Kid, the showstopper, the headliner, Mr. WrestleMania himself, Shawn Michaels. And for those who are wondering at home, this would be the first time in the history of WrestleMania that both Undertaker and Shawn Michaels' paths would cross. Never before this one moment in history, these two superstars are icons and titans of the business would ever lay hands on each other at WrestleMania. And the only reason this is all going down, folks, is well after Shawn Michaels would win his freedom back from JBL at No Way Out, he would have a new sense of vigor in his step and would decide to step up to the dead man at WrestleMania, and would have to do so by beating one Vladimir Kozlov, and would do so successfully, only to play, as OSW Review would say, mind games with the dead man for weeks on end, hitting him with two separate sweet chin musics. And not only that, but would then say that he is the light to Undertaker's darkness, and all good things come to an end. Only for Undertaker to counter back by saying, sometimes Shawn Michaels, it's hell trying to get to heaven. And during this match, folks, it would be proof of that. But before the match could even begin, Shawn Michaels, in a holy entrance like no other, would decide to lift off from the rafters and decide to go into an entrance opposite of The Undertaker, which he would pop up from underneath the ground for his entrance with Hellfire following amongst them. And I find it funny that he's doing this whole God entrance 3 years off from the whole incident he got into with Vince McMahon and the whole God complex that he was on. Yeah, I find it funny. But nevertheless, folks, during this match, action would go back and forth between the two natives of Texas, featuring Shawn Michaels actually doing a whole bunch of moves to get Undertaker real riled up during this match, playing the speed game to Undertaker's power game, for Undertaker to finally catch up with Shawn Michaels, hitting him with not only a big boot but a leg drop for a near fall, only to pick up the pace by doing an old school during this match, for Shawn Michaels to counter with not only a knee drop after Undertaker would miss with a big boot in the corner and a chop block, and then would go to the WrestleMania repertoire of last year by borrowing a move from Nature Boy in the form of a figure four leg lock for two separate near falls by Shawn Michaels. Only for the dead man to counter with right hands and soup bowls the only way he knew how. Then for the Undertaker to do not only a snake eyes, big boot, leg drop combination for near fall, only for Shawn Michaels to come back during this match after countering a chokeslam into a crossface for the dead man to counter into a sidewalk slam for near fall. And then you would see Undertaker catching Shawn Michaels off guard with a Hell's Gate after Shawn Michaels would not be able to get all of the sweet chin music he was looking for Shawn Michaels to take things up to the next level by doing a moonsault to the outside of the ring, and for his wrist to get hurt, for Undertaker to go in traditional form of Air Deadman, is what I used to call back in the day, his suicide dive to the outside of the ring that he's been doing at countless WrestleManias in the past, only this time it would land in a crash and burn with Shawn Michaels pulling the referee in his path and for the cameraman to get caught with the action as well, for him to land on his head. The Undertaker would land on his head and the cameraman would get crushed, and so would his camera, for Shawn Michaels to plead with the referee after waking him up to count out the dead man to win this match, only for Undertaker to get back in the ring at the count of 9. And if you think the match was over after all of that, folks, no, that would just be the beginning. Cause then Undertaker would get back in the ring, choke slam would lead to a near fall, a sweet chin music by Shawn Michaels, still a near fall, a last ride after it would get countered on 2 separate occasions, still a near fall, and then you would see Undertaker missing an elbow drop from the top rope, then would try to send Shawn Michaels to the outside of the ring for him to try to skin the cat, only for him to get captured and for Undertaker to hit him with a tombstone, still all for a near fall. And for JR to say the best line to describe this match after that moment, I just had an out-of-body experience. And with the look of the dead man, with the look on his face like he won $1 million, at the fact that he could not put away Shawn Michaels with that tombstone pile driver, but then would try to go for it again, only for Shawn Michaels to counter with a tornado DDT, then would hit an elbow drop, then would go for his sweet chin music, and that would still lead to a near fall. And after giving each other their best shots, both men both staggered, bruised, would both send haymakers and shot at each other for Undertaker to win the exchange with a big boot to the face of one Shawn Michaels, only to try to run towards Shawn Michaels in the corner to get kicked underneath the chin. Not a sweet chin music, folks, but more or less a throat shot with a big boot, only for Michaels to come off the top rope for a moonsault to the dead man, only for him to get caught out of midair directly into a tombstone pile driver, for the dead man to reign supreme at WrestleMania once again by finally defeating Shawn Michaels and becoming 17-0 via pinfall. In a match that was considered by most probably one of the best Undertaker streak match that he's had in his entire career. And I would have to agree wholeheartedly, and I can see the reason after seeing this match once again, folks, why JX, the bad guy Harris, which I really wish I could have had him on the show to review this match with me, is one of his favorite matches of all time in the history of WrestleMania. And to recap those in the future, what would happen with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels next? Well, after Undertaker would go on to No Way Out to actually have the World Heavyweight Championship in his possession, would unfortunately have it snatched away from him by none other than Shawn Michaels, who would be hell-bent to try to get the rematch that he wanted and would go to any lengths to try to do it, and would have the championship taken away from him thanks to Shawn Michaels, which would lead to a rematch that would lead to the retirement of one Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 26. But his business would not be over with D-Generation X, folks, because for the next years to come, he would have to fight against the other brother of DX, or the Clique, no matter which way you look at it, in the form of Triple H at WrestleMania 27 and at WrestleMania 28, for The Undertaker to still come out on top until his streak was ended by one Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30. And probably one of the most shocking moments of the decade. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that did take place during the whole decade that we're currently in. I could be wrong. And The next match and the co-main event of the evening would be for the World Heavyweight Championship, which would see none other than the Rated R Superstar Edge going one-on-one against not only the Big Show but John Cena in a triple threat match. And the only reason this match is happening is after No Way Out, where Edge unfortunately would lose his WWE Championship after getting a gangland beatdown and becoming the first man eliminated inside of the Elimination Chamber for the WWE Championship, only to sneak his way into the world title picture by taking out one Kofi Kingston, costing him a chance of becoming world champion by stealing his way into that chamber and becoming world heavyweight champion. And after winning the match and costing Cena a chance to become champion, it would be a one-on-one match originally that was supposed to be scheduled between the Big Show and one Edge for the world title, until Vicky Guerrero would get some shocking news from John Cena for her to change her mind and make this match a triple threat match at Wrestlemania. And what was the shocking news, folks? Well, it will look like that Edge, or should I say Vicky Guerrero for once, would cheat on her then-husband Edge, and with the Big Show, of all people. And I'm a little bit surprised by all this, that Vicky Guerrero would do this, but then again, with the actions that Edge would do later on in his career to Vicky, it was bound to happen. It really was. So that would lead to a love triangle and a triple threat match all in one night. And how would that play out at WrestleMania? Well, besides the pyrotechnics that happened prior to the match, which would see Big Show getting a dual set of pyrotechnics for his entrance, Edge getting cool pyrotechnics for his entrance, and of course, John Cena coming out to the ring with well over, and I could be wrong with this head count, 50 separate John Cenas on the ramp to do the whole "you can't see me" as he would make his way to the ring, keeping track with a litany list of unique entrances that he would have at WrestleMania. Because for those who weren't keeping track, he did have an entrance at WrestleMania 23 where he drove a Ford Mustang into Ford Field. Then at WrestleMania 24, he would have a marching band play his entrance to the ring. Which, by the way, I do believe for next year's Retromania, we may do WrestleMania 24 since it's in Florida. But I digress, because the year prior to that, at WrestleMania 22, he would also have yet another unique entrance that would feature the Chicago native himself, CM Punk, on his car for a special mobster-like entrance that he would have prior to fighting against one Triple H at WrestleMania 22. So yeah, with everybody officially caught up with all the cool entrances John Cena would have from WrestleMania 22 till now, we now go into the cool match that would take place that would involve, as the world turns, in this love triangle triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. And to kick off this match, folks, Big Show would be dominant from the get-go. He would take out people left and right, people would bounce off of him like rainwater, and then in a last-ditch effort, both Cena and Edge would decide to say, maybe, just maybe, we should try to take out Big Show, and would do so by not only doing a drop kick to the Big Show's knees thanks to Edge with the help of the steel stairs, and even Cena doing a leg drop from the top rope to the outside of the ring, but would pay for it the second he would get back inside the ring with an execution for a near fall. And then you would see Big Show getting caught up in the ropes and the 5 moves of doom from one John Cena to be delivered, all for a near fall. And once Big Show got freed, not only did he deliver condominium smashes in the corner, but also a repeated litany list of chops to both Edge and Cena for their trouble. And how would Edge respond back with this? Well, he would decide to go outside the ring and with the help of the steel steps, decided to deliver a hellacious spear through the barricade on the outside. And ultimately, this would lead to John Cena getting a little bit of an advantage directly into an SDF during this said contest, only for Big Show to break it up. And with Big Show being damn near unstoppable during this match, Cena and Edge would decide to team up once again for a dual suplex during this match, and also a double clothesline to try to take out the Giant. Only for Edge to be the weasel like he is, to betray his newfound friend and trying to get rid of the Big Show with a big boot for a near fall. And ultimately, this match will come to an end again after Chavo Guerrero's interference earlier in the night that would award him an attitude adjustment for Cena to not only get speared out of midair for a near fall, but then for Edge to try to do a sleeper hold to the Big Show, only for John Cena to get involved and get well over 700 pounds on his back by doing an attitude adjustment to first the Big Show, then to Edge, on top of the Big Show, mind you, for him to pin the Big Show and for him to win the World Heavyweight Championship at Wrestlemania via pinfall. And making up for what happened last year when he was unsuccessful at winning the World Heavyweight Championship, or should I say the WWE Championship, from one Randy Orton. And a little bit of irony that was going to take place next, but before we get into what's next, folks, the recap of this said match. Because John Cena would go on to fight for the WWE Championship that next following year in the co-main event against one Batista, who is now starting to become in the Hall of Fame as of this year. And as for Edge, well, after suffering an almost career-ending injury with his ACL, he would come back after winning the Royal Rumble to fight against Chris Jericho for the World Heavyweight Championship. And as for the Big Show, he would not see another singles title run in his career until he fought against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 28 for the Intercontinental Championship. Which, by the way, to circle back from earlier tonight with the Intercontinental Championship on the line, that would be the last time the Intercontinental Championship would be defended on the grand stage of WrestleMania for 3 whole years. Yes, that's right, folks. Thanks to JBL losing that title in less than 21 seconds, the championship would not be defended on the grand stage for 3 years. Which tells you a lot, folks. It really does. And oh, before I forget, folks, heading into Backlash, John Cena's title reign would not last too long because he would lose it to Edge in a last man standing match thanks to the Big Show chokeslamming him through a spotlight, only for those two to go at it at Extreme Rules that next following pay-per-view, and Jeff Hardy would be able to capture the World Heavyweight Championship, and like we said in the first part, unfortunately would not celebrate with that belt too long because CM Punk would come along to cash it in on him. So yeah, everything we said in part 1 has now come full circle. And speaking of full circles, folks, the main event for the evening, which would be under Orton's Law, which if Triple H got disqualified, counted out, or lost by any other means, would lose the championship to Randy Orton, would be for the WWE Championship, which would see the legend killer turned Viper turned madman Randy Orton going one-on-one against the game, the Cerebral Assassin, or as what Lillian Garcia calls him, Triple H. And I'm not as good as Lillian Garcia, but come on, it's Lillian Garcia. She's the best at calling Triple H's name for his entrances. I'm just saying. And the reason why we say full circle, folks, because the only reason this match is happening right now is after a 5-year revenge plan from Randy Orton, after Randy Orton would win the World Heavyweight Championship and become the youngest world champion in that company's history, only for Triple H the night after SummerSlam to spoil the festivities by beating the living crap out of Randy Orton and eventually taking that World Heavyweight Championship from him and exiling him out of Evolution. And how would Randy Orton get his revenge 5 years later? Well, by not only punting his father-in-law in the head by Vince McMahon, then would go further and draw the envelope just a little bit more by not only punting Shane McMahon in the head, and then would decide to do the ultimate sin by actually putting his hands on Stephanie McMahon, not only hitting her with an RKO after punting Shane McMahon in the skull, but also hitting her with a hesitation DDT and kissing her on the lips to a handcuffed Triple H, and would even threaten to shut down Wrestlemania as a whole for a lawsuit that he had against the McMahons and Triple H. But then would agree to fight against Triple H at WrestleMania for him to get his revenge, for Triple H to say, hey, what happened last year at Extreme Rules, I broke your collarbone. That was just business. But at WrestleMania, I'm going to break your neck. And would he try to do that at WrestleMania for this year, folks? Well, after Triple H would have a cool entrance featuring him breaking a mirror and getting no form of bad luck, Triple H's offensive maneuvers would all be focused on the neck of one Randy Orton, by not only doing haymakers, knees to the back of the skull, and even hitting a pedigree after Randy Orton would hit an RKO to kick off this match. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, this match would kick off with their best moves to actually start off this contest that would turn into an all-out war. And this war between these two that meant more than a championship would lead to Randy Orton trying to go for the punt on several different occasions during this match, only for Triple H to actually counter it by flipping him outside the ring like an omelet, like JR would say, and then would try to pedigree him through the announce table, only for that to get countered into a back suplex and for Randy Orton to do his hesitation DDT on the announce table on the outside of the ring. And after getting DDT on the outside of the ring, Triple H would make his way back inside the ring at the count of 9, saving his championship. But at the same time, to quote Metalocalypse, would get the boots put to a medium style by Randy Orton, getting stomped over and over and over again until regaining his balance. Then for the referee to get involved in the action by getting hit into the corner, and then Randy Orton tossing Triple H into the referee, then hitting an RKO on Triple H. But instead of trying to wake up the referee, he would decide to get the great equalizer Triple H has used more times than less, old Betsy as my sister would call it, the sledgehammer from underneath the ring. And would this cost him? Why, yes it would. Because Triple H would hit him with a punt kick, causing Randy Orton's lights to get shut down like unpaid light bills. And for Triple H to get the sledgehammer from Randy Orton, hit him directly in the neck, and then repeatedly over and over again with haymakers throwing bombs, hitting Randy Orton in the face over and over again, releasing his rage, only to end things off with a pedigree in the center of the ring and a 3 count later for Triple H to retain his championship against the Royal Rumble winner via pinfall. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I almost forgot to mention Randy Orton during his whole plan for revenge would win the Royal Rumble to do so, but still would fail against the game. But would this be the end of this whole back and forth war between Triple H and Evolution as a whole? No, because Batista would get involved in the mix and replace Vince McMahon in a match at Backlash that would ultimately see Randy Orton walking out somehow as WWE Champion. And to make matters worse, folks, it would go on for Randy Orton to actually punt kick Ric Flair in the head, for Batista to threaten to rip him in half, and would succeed to do so at Extreme Rules in a steel cage match, only for Randy Orton to somehow regain the WWE Championship once again after taking out Batista. And for the future for WrestleMania for Randy Orton, heading into WrestleMania 26, his own friends in Legacy would betray him and would ultimately pay the price in the form of an RKO and a punt kick for Randy Orton to go on to beat them. And for Triple H, well folks, that's a little bit complicated, because Triple H would go one-on-one against the Celtic Warrior himself, Sheamus, at WrestleMania 26 that following year, while his best friend got retired by none other than the dead man, The Undertaker, only for Triple H to get taken out by Sheamus the night after with a pipe. And then next thing you know, fast forward a couple of months later, Triple H would get his revenge on Sheamus by taking him out, only to go on to fight against the dead man at WrestleMania 27. Now, I'm still a little bit confused by all of this, because Undertaker got taken out that same year by the Nexus heading into WrestleMania 27 at bragging rights, yet he never got his revenge. I'm still waiting on that, but it never happened. And join us next time, ladies and gentlemen, where we will go into yet another Retromania for next year's anniversary show, which will neither be the WrestleMania that took place in New Jersey for WrestleMania 29 with the good stage, or possibly WrestleMania 24 that took place in an outdoor arena and probably had one of the craziest matches in WrestleMania history involving an athlete, with Floyd Money Mayweather going one-on-one against The Big Show. And we have a year to decide, so we'll probably flip a coin on it. But until then, folks, it's time for us to head back into this music as we grab a glass of water once again. And when we return, we'll be back with more radioactive celebration as the 5th anniversary of Under the Radar rolls on, right after this. So don't touch that dial just yet, folks, and stay tuned.